Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good day to my lecturer, Dr. KARMEGAM KARUPPIAH, Associate Professor Dr. KARMEGAM KARUPPIAH, and to all my classmates. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nur Aliza binti Najri, with my metric number GS68449, and I'm also the student for this class, Emergency Response Management in Industrial Safety, EOH 5205. So this recording is regarding the task 3 by Dr. KARMEGAM KARUPPIAH. So I would like to present regarding the task 3, which is about the Putra Height gas pipeline explosion and incident command system, ICS. So for the early slide is regarding the introduction on an overview of the incident. So the date and time of the incident was on April 1st, 2025. The recent incident happened in Malaysia at approximately 8:08 a.m., which is on a Raya celebration in Malaysia. And the location was at Jalan Putra Harmoni, Putra Heights, Subang Jaya, Selangor, Malaysia. And a brief of the incident details. A Petronas gas pipeline leak led to an explosion and subsequent fire, and the flame reached high of up to 30 meters or 98 feet, and the fire lasted approximately 7 hours and 35 minutes before being fully extinguished. And the brief impact is involving injuries. Approximately 145 individuals sustained injuries, including second and third degree burns. The evacuation involving over 500 residents evacuated within a 290-meter radius of the explosion site, and the property damage approximately 190 houses and 148 vehicles were damaged and destroyed from this incident. In the next slide is regarding what went wrong before and after the explosion. In my view, before the explosion, the pipeline there was the issue on the pipeline integrity issues. There was a potential pre-existing weakness or undetected leaks in the gas pipeline. Besides, there was a maintenance lapse, which possible inadequacy in routine inspection and maintenance protocol. And besides, there was a regulatory oversight in this incident, which questioned regarding the enforcement of safety standards and regulation that lead to this incident happen. And what went wrong after the explosion, in my view, there was a delayed isolation. The time taken to shut off the gas supply may have prolonged the fire, and there was also a resources allocation. There was a challenge in mobilizing sufficient firefighting resources promptly, and also the initial communication among residents and respondents due to the lack of clear information. Besides, the next slide is regarding the agency involved in the emergency response, which is the seven. In my view, there are seven agencies. First is Malaysian Fire and Rescue Department, JPPM, which led the firefighting and rescue operations. Second is Royal Malaysia Police, PDRM, which managed security, traffic control and conducted investigation. Third, involving Ministry of Health Malaysia, MOH, which provide the medical assistance to the injured. Fourth is Petronas Gas Berhad, PGB, which collaborated in isolating the gas supply and assessing the pipeline integrity. Fifth is the Tenaga Nasional Berhad, TNB, which addressed the electrical hazard and restored the power. Sixth is the Public Work Department, JKR, which also involved in evaluated the structural damage and coordinated repair works. Seven is the local government authorities, which facilitated in evacuation and provided temporary shelters to the victims. Next slide is the challenge phases by the emergency responders. There is 5 emergency challenge phases. One is, first is the access limitation. The debris in the ongoing fires hindered the entry to the affected areas. And second, resource constraint, which initial shortage of the specialist equipment and personnel. Third is the safety risk, which the risk of threat of secondary explosion and structural collapse. Fourth is the interagency coordination by ensuring the seamless collaboration among multiple responding agencies. Fifth is the public communication, the challenge faced by the emergency responders. Fifth is the public communication, which managing the misinformation and providing timely to the update. And the discussion, next slide is focusing on the discussion regarding the main cause of the explosion. First, main cause is the pipeline leak, which suspected failure in underground Petronas gas pipeline system. Second is corrosion or mechanical damage, which possible aging infrastructure or accidental damage during the nearby construction works. Third is the delayed detection. The gas leak may have gone unnoticed until it ignited the fire of the incident. Fourth is the environmental factors. There was maybe a soil movement or pressure build-up could have accelerated the rupture. The next slide is the biggest challenge faced by the emergency responders, which same as the previous slide, and I add up some of the biggest challenge. First is the massive fire and heat, which intense flames and high heat limited the access to the fire department. Second is the explosive risk, which caused fear of secondary explosion from nearby pipeline or gas pocket. Third is the evacuation logistic, which quickly moving hundreds of residents in dense area is the biggest challenge. Fourth is the medical overload, which hospital face sudden influx of burn victims. Fifth is the communication gaps, which lack of a centralized command initially delayed the coordination during the incident. And the next slide is regarding the key agency involved in response with their responsibility. First is the Fire and Rescue Department, JBPM, which should lead the firefighting operation, rescue effort, and also site safety control. Second is Royal Malaysia Police, PDRM, which should maintain security, control traffic, and manage crowd and evacuation zones. Third is the Ministry of Health, MOH, which provide the emergency medical services and coordinates the hospital response. Fifth is the Tenaga Nasional Berhad, TNB, which ensure the electrical safety by shutting down power in affected zones. Sixth is the Local Disaster Management Committee, which coordinate local level emergency operation and community support services. Seven is the Selangor State Government and MPSJ, Majlis Pembenaran Subang Jaya, which should oversaw the overall crisis management, resources allocation, and also responsible in public communication. Okay, for the next slide is what could have improved the response effort. In my view, the improvement that could improve the response effort, first is the earlier leak detection system. By installing a real-time gas monitoring, could have identified the leak before it escalated into an explosion. Second, preset emergency evacuation plan by having pre-established evacuation routes and drill would have allowed faster and safer relocation of residents. Third, on-site command center for unified control. A dedicated command post at the scene could have ensured better coordination among emergency agencies. Fourth is the more firefighting resources, especially for gas fire specialists, which specialized equipment and trained personnel would have enabled quicker separation of gas-related fires. Fifth is by public awareness on gas leak safety protocol. By educating the community on recognizing and responding to the gas leak, could have reduced the panic injuries among public. The next slide, if I were in charge, what would I have done differently? I would first activate the ICS immediately. I would quickly setting up the ICS, which for me would ensure the structured leadership and coordinate emergency action from the start. Second, I would establish a clear chain of command, which I would define role and responsibility to early avoid the confusion and enable faster decision making during the crisis. Third, I would deploy the safety officer to prevent secondary injuries. I would hire a safety officer which could identify ongoing risks at the site and guide responder and civilian away from the danger zones. Fourth, I would use mass communication tools such as SMS alert, PA system, which I would broadcasting the timely information to the public, which can help manage crowd control, reduce panic, and a big guide for the safe action. Fifth, I would conduct a rapid damage assessment team deployment. I would send a trained teams to assess the structural and environmental damage to enable smarter and data-informed response planning. And for the next slide is application of the incident command system, ICS. In my opinion, who should be the incident commander? I would suggest the incident commandant would be the district fire chief, JBPM, which supported by a deputy from the Petronas. My reason is because JBPM is a trained in fire control and rescue, which make them ideal to lead this incident initially, with the input from the guest expert of the Petronas. Okay, this is the ICS section, in my view, which present or missing. First, starting from incident commander is, in my view, was likely present. The safety officer, in my view, was possibly missing in this incident. The public info officer, PIO, was also not clearly seen. And the license officer was also not obvious. And operation section was obvious present, including JBPM, MOH, and PDRM, Bomber, Ministry of Health, and also police. And the planning section was also missing in my view. The logistics section was also limited evident view in this incident. And also the finance and admin section was also not visible for me in this ICS section. For the next slide is how ICS could improve coordination among agencies. Yes, in my view, ICS could improve coordination among agencies by four effort. First is by unified command. ICS could streamline the decision making and reduce confusion. Also, ICS would define role by each section handle specific tasks, which could lead for more efficient during this incident. Third is by ICS could be a better communication by providing a public information officer, PIO, to ensure a timely update to media and public, which urgently need to know the updates. And fourth, ICS would be efficient to resources use by logistic, track equipment, and personnel deployment. And the next slide, if ICS had been used effectively, would the outcome of the response would be changed? Yes. For me, there is change if the ICS would have been used effectively. First, by faster evacuation and rescue. ICS could be clear command and communication line would have enabled swift evacuation and immediate rescue operation. Second, ICS, if being used effectively, it will reduce the injuries from delays. The timely coordination between responders could have minimized delays that often lead to preventable injuries. Third, ICS would be quicker fire containment. By ICS, the organized deployment of firefighting teams and equipment would have allowed more efficient fire control. And ICS also would be better media management, which will result in less panic among public. A designated public information officer, PIO, could have provided accurate updates, preventing misinformation and public fear. Fifth, ICF, if being used effectively, it will be more accurate resources allocation, including firefighting and tools and also medical. The ICS structure ensure that the right resources reach the right place at the right time through proper tracking and planning. As a conclusion, from the key point, in my view, the explosion of this incident revealed the gaps in pipeline safety, coordination, and also emergency response. Second, in my view, the key challenge including fire intensity, communication breakdown, and also resources limitation. Third, the ICS provide a proven structure that could significantly improve disaster response, efficiency, and also safety. And lastly, by applying the ICS, it will ensure the strong leadership, clear communication, and better outcome through this incident. So this is my reference for this task, and I think that's all from me. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my presentation.